Ness versus Bayonetta are going to be the characters. They've locked it in. They're both on the loser's run of a lifetime, potentially, if they can sneak their way into top 8. But there is one obstacle in front of that, and that is each other. Both of these guys would very much like to be in top 8. And I, yesterday, literally heard Lima, after he lost to Jared is King, go, oh well, 12 sets to win it.
Yeah, that's the kind of player Lima is he's not going to let you know that he's bothered, but if you listen to the words he's saying, you can tell that he's probably a little bit bothered, but he focuses on the task at hand. Send, he's a big picture guy. He knows where he wants to be, and that's in the winner's circle of the whole tournament. First thing he's got to do is go up against a guy who kind of made his career on beating Ness a lot.
Yeah, it's not the most fortunate of matchups for Spencer to find himself facing off against, but if anybody can do it, it is the Ness main from Utah, so formerly known as Best Ness, but now having rebranded to Send, but it took a while to get that first.
I hate the lack of confidence. I think that he should
go back to Best Ness. Just shout it out loud for the whole world to hear.
Everybody ought to know, and hey, he's got his chance to prove that more or less right now, but Lima taking advantage of one of the big factors in this matchup. Witch time against the PK Fire is absolutely brutal. It basically neutralizes any sort of follow-ups that Ness can get out of one of the defining parts of his neutral.
No hits coming through from Spencer. He's struggling so hard just for every stray hit, and that's not something that Ness is going to be very fond of in a matchup, and I think that's how Lima ended up being so known as the Ness Slayer. His movement is so clean, his defensive play is so clean, that it's very difficult to even find those stray hits, and when you do, you're sure as hell not getting anything else off of them, and we're seeing that demonstrated here as Send just struggles to do anything.
I mean, he's so good at knowing what your win conditions are, right? Where you get your big combos, not only just as Ness, but as any character. And Ness really relies on trapping you into one spot to get those big setups, right? It's not as much getting something huge off of a stray hit. And that's something that really makes you struggle against Bayonetta, who can really maneuver to wherever she pleases.
Lima making liberal use of walks as well, right, when she's around shield. So that you can never really guess where they're going to fall out of the movement in and where you can place a hitbox to find something. 73% already built up on Descend.
And Lima trying to get that big opening, doesn't find it yet.
And there's the characteristic Bayonetta SD.
You know, and it's particularly characteristic of Lima. You can almost rest assured that at some point in any given set that's going to happen. Might honestly be a good thing for him that he got it out of the way now.
Right, one of the things that I think is so funny is that Lima actually plays better when he SDs in a set. More often than not, sets that Lima loses are sets without SDs.
Yeah.
Which, that's a little bit of a statistical anomaly that I have no actual evidence to back up, but I'm saying it now, and Lima sending Send to the blast zone with that side B, the bullet arts on it, going to knock him down.
I think that was one of the first times I've seen somebody get a KO without even touching their opponent. He literally just pushed him a little bit with those bullet arts, and it was enough for Ness to be too far away to make it. Yeah, shoo off into the blast zone, and now Lima only needs to take one more stock to take the 1-0 lead, but Send with the ledge trap.
Good
That's pretty decent damage, yeah.
I like the loop-de-loop on the PK Thunder to just make sure that Bats Within doesn't do its job. Bats Within does do its job this time around. I guess it was a little bit incensed at me talking trash to its functionality.
I think that's another great thing about Lima's play, that if you're just watching him and you're not 100% in tune with how Bayo works, you can't really tell that Lima really uses Bats Within on purpose.
Yeah, a lot of the time when somebody who's maybe not as familiar or as good with this character is playing, you'll see just random Bats Within happen, but then they get continuously comboed on anyway. Lima, every single one is going to be intentional. He's not making use of it unless he knows it's going to be the escape tool he needs, but he's not going to be able to escape that situation on the ledge as Send finds the F-tilt to close out the stock. It might be the last thing he does this game if he can't find his way back onto stage, though.
And doing a whole lot with that mix-up game to try to make it back. Eventually the air dodge will allow him. It's basically another double jump for Ness. Just covers such a huge distance, and hey, 118%, that's a whole lot of rage. You catch Lima out of position using too many of these specials, you might have found your avenue back into this game, so you got to be careful, especially as this Ness is now exiting confirmed percents for Lima to take advantage of.
Yeah, here's the part where Lima and Bayonetta both struggle pretty heavily is the Marthritis, the suffering when the opponent gets up too high percent. She doesn't have good confirms to kill, so she's going to have to do it off of a stray hit, but Lima, he's very confident in his ability to find those stray hits and does so right there, punishing the PK Thunder with the back air to close out game number 1 in his favor.
It's so amazing to watch him just flee from every single projectile that is harrying him in these situations where Ness would normally be checkmating his opponent. But again, Bayonetta is so maneuverable that she can just elude anything that you toss her way and then eventually, like you said, set yourself up for those stray hits that will get you that KO. And in that case, it was Send happening to land on that platform, sets him up perfectly on a tee for that back air.
Gonna run it right back into game number 2. I don't think either one of them counterpicked either. No, Sen, a player very much known for the finger twirl, the run it back mentality. It's not the stage's fault, it's my fault. Let's do this again. But looks like second verse might be a little bit too similar to the first his taste as he goes down a stock in only 12 seconds thanks to the long form combo by Lima and then the body block on the PK Thunder.
You know, oftentimes the kite block is on purpose, and oftentimes I will tell you that Lima did it on purpose. That was just
That was an accident.
That was a pure happenstance that ended with Sen losing a stock 11 seconds into the game. Great counter hit off stage, though, not only gets him back, but puts Lima in a really bad position.
Lima's able to reversal, though, and gets back up on stage thanks to the use of the afterburner kick to hit Send. But he's still on the back foot as Send is making use of that PK Thunder to punish any use of bat within with a little loop-de-loop around it.
And with Lima running right up and getting the grab, too. Doesn't look
Lima's
like he
going
took away
so
that double
deep.
jump. And he will do that when he is playing confident. This time, it ends up being a bad thing for him. Man, Sen just able to swamp him off stage and now barely able to escape a big combo, but up tilt back air, just what the doctor ordered for Lima to go up one more stock again.
It even looked like it might not be enough to KO there, but indeed it was, and Lima goes up, like you said, 2 stocks to 1 thanks to that bread and butter confirm that Bayonetta has at her disposals until very, very late in a character's lifespan. Oh, bat within on the PK Fire.
And interesting that when you do that bat within, it doesn't let the PK Fire activate. It's
no,
not
it despawns
technically
it.
hitting you, yeah.
So that's another interesting thing. It's the same way with Pyro Myth or Foresight, I believe, where
Again.
That one was on purpose.
That one was definitely on purpose. Lima, much like a still-winded day, blocking every kite that you can see.
What a metaphor. You want to go out and fly your kite and there's no wind, there's no breeze.
I've learned recently that flying kites is actually very difficult.
It's very hard.
It's really hard.
My dad tried to teach me a long time ago because I lived in an area that was very, very windy. The plant
is pulling out the plant. It got 3rd place in the low tier bracket, and look, there is a
beat Peanut in the low tier bracket.
I want to tell you a little story about Dallas Fort Worth, the region that Lima comes from. There was a period where he was winning everything. One of the matchups that some of our local players, such as Oryx, theorized may be a good counter to Bayonetta was Piranha Plant, and a couple of characters picked it up briefly. Lima's got a little bit of experience against this character, but that was a while ago, and Sen's Plant is like nothing else you've ever seen.
So, off the top of my head, I'm like just thinking about this now because never before have I, in my professional career, had to consider the Bayonetta Plant matchup. But just off the top of my head, the kind of characters that Bayo struggles with as the bullet arts do take that stock out are characters with either 1, solid out of shield games, or 2, delayed hitboxes that can cover them from certain things. So, for example, Duck Hunts can, or Piranha Plant's Patui. If Send were to stand in place and make use of the Patui, and then Lima would try to use the heel slide in, the Patui would win out in that situation and do quite a bit of damage to him. Get smash out of shield, going to take the stock, and Send taunting as we get back to even stocks.
And that's the kind of player that Send is, right? He's somebody who knows what kind of lion's den that he's walked into, but that doesn't mean that he's not going to try to be eaten cat for dinner. It's 34% on Lima and more will climb. He takes control of center stage, and this is the crux of the matchup. Lima has to be crossing up Send often to try to continue those combos, lest he fall victim to the Patui.
One thing, though, about Plant is that he's a heavy boy. He struggles hard in combo situations like that one. Is Lima alive? He should be, yeah.
Barely.
Bayo's recovery, It's like the biggest dichotomy in the game where like Bayo's recovery is both phenomenal and terrible. Because if you make one mistake, you SD, but if you don't make a mistake, you're not getting touched on your way back to stage.
I'm just flummoxed that he was able to make it back when it looked like he jumped off of the barrier of the bottom blast zone. Like he was way down there.
Coming all the way back from deep off stage once again, but it's the Patui to beat him out. That's a stock for sure. Sen making the mistake of going high. And the F up smash.
That was a conscious decision too.
Yeah,
that wasn't
a mistake.
Sure why, because he could have easily gone to ledge.
When I say mistake, I'm not saying like not the Bayo player, and also not like a misinput. I'm talking about like he just should not have done that.
Yeah. Nonetheless, though, he will fire back both literally and metaphorically with that back air to even things up at one stock apiece. And I mean, at the very least, even if he doesn't win this game, you got to give props to the plant for what it's done to this point. Giving Send a fighting chance where Lima looks so dominant, but he is still in control of the game. Send only gets some glancing blows here and there, and Lima's combos continue to do the amount of damage that you would expect.
Lima mashed that on shield there, just spot dodge into immediate witch twist, but the witch chime is going to catch Send and give Lima the opportunity to get this combo started. Shields the Patui, and up to the skies we go. 134% built up onto Send. It's just one back air away from Lima finding the match against Louis Money.
And he can't go out too deep. Again, you have to respect.
Oh!
Turn it around, but an SD from Lima. He thought he'd have to tech, but you never do against Piranha Plant.
No.
He finds himself in the bottom blast zone, and the crowd finds elation in Piranha Plant getting a win at a major.
The only time you need to tech the stage against Piranha Plant is if you get sent into it by Patui. Otherwise, buffering air dodge is guaranteed death for any character in this game except maybe a couple. But
like
Bayo,
if you're Donkey Kong and you're that big that you're going to get hit into the stage.
Yeah, like DK will probably end up having to tech the stage just because his hurt box is so massive, but Bayo, she's a little bit skinny.
A little bit slimmer. And
at least
you know what?
DK.
And the lead is a bit slimmer as well now. Send has himself on the board with that Game 3 win with the Piranha Plant, and looks like he's going to stick with it. We may see, and I can't believe I'm about to say this sentence last, a Piranha Plant reverse 3-0.
I don't think, like, we'll have to check later because I'm very curious actually, but in the history of Smash Ultimate, I don't know if we've ever seen a Piranha Plant reverse 3-0 somebody of this caliber, this late in a bracket this large.
And yet, look at the damage Send is doing. That afterburner kick, barely able to beat out that back air. The hitbox was out. ABK's just that big.
Oh, just playing mid-range a little bit. This is where Lima likes to be a lot of the time. When you're playing a character like Bayo and you're up against a character that you can't run over, you can just play mid-range, that ABK range essentially, and then wait for them to whiff, burst, die.
The problem is if your opponent starts getting a read on when you want to do those ABKs, as a plant, it's very easy. You press the red button and then they get hit for trying to ABK you. And look at Send preemptively running all the way to that side of the stage to catch Lima retreating to the corner, and the game goes right back to even percentage-wise, but given the kill power between these two characters, Sen may be the one to get that stock lead first.
1.8% was all that separated them at that moment, but Lima's able to take the lead, if only barely. He definitely needs a KO here and now, or else Send is just going to find a stray down B, a stray neutral B to close out a stock. Oh, I was thinking that back air was going to be it, but instead the dash attack trades with Patui.
I think that Send has found such comfort sitting at the ledge that nobody should be able to against Bayonetta, but he knows that Lima can't really risk going out there against him. He misses his turnaround to find the back air, but Send mashing that Patui gives Lima the opportunity to follow up with what he needed in the first place.
Oh, there's another witch chime. It's not enough to get a hit off of it, but it is enough to force Send to buffer shield so that Lima can find a grab coming in from off stage, but the Nair kills. Oh, okay.
It hits like that?
Maybe, apparently.
I'm assuming now that it just like catapults you like a trebuchet into the blast zone.
It's very Banjo Nair-esque if I were to compare it to any other that I've seen in this game, and that it just kind of sends you wherever it feels like at that given moment.
I think I've seen those two moves about the same as each other.
Especially in this part of bracket, yeah.
Yeah.
What is Send doing? What is he cooking?
What was he cooking? Oh, what is he cooking?
He's cooking Lima, that's what he's cooking.
And look at that, he does tilt into the stage, forcing Lima into that tech situation. He's able to make it back because he's Bayonetta. The crowd is getting really into this because not only is the Piranha Plant putting up a fight, but it is looking really nice for Send. As I say that, though,
that was your fault.
Lima takes advantage of the commentator's curse. A great adaptation by him.
Looking for those bullet arch or those landing fair hits on Sen's shield, but he's just, I'm just going to hold this, bro. I'm not dropping this shield for the life of me.
And Bayonetta has such crazy on-shield mix-ups. Send also trying to make a little bit of that work himself, but dropping a couple of ledge traps. Lima is starting to recognize the spots that Send is not willing to match an attack back at him, and that is exactly what he needs to finish out the set. Well, you thought that Piranha Plant was going to make everything happen for Send. Instead, at the end of the day, it gets shellacked by a couple of massive combos, and Lima with the 3-1 will move on to the top 8 qualifier.